is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the I am, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. But the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the I am knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Psalms chapter 1. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me in my seed, that we may not go astray from henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on TikTok. Yes, we thank God for you, and you. And also with the hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed, or we thank God for those of you that have been with us from the beginning. And we also thank God for those of you who are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. All praises to him who inhabits all things. Yes. We give God the glory. We're in chapter 20. We're ended with verse 36 in the book of Judges. Yes, we found out how God had chastised Israel through the means of the sons of Belial, through some men of Gilead who had unalived one of the priest's concubines, or it also renders it wife also. But we shall find that out as we go along, because all the meanings of the words are defined by the actions of the characters in this written history. If you read, you don't need nobody to tell you anything. Concordances are good, yes, for some things, to find out what the English have done to their language and what meaning that it might mean to a certain person, or to give them a meaning that this word's supposed to mean. But we're in chapter 20, and we're going to start from verse 37. And it starts out in 37. It says they had rushed upon Gibeah and drew themselves along and smote the city with the edge of the sword. So God gave them victory over Gibeah. Now in 38, there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait, that they should make a great flame with smoke to rise up out of the city. And when the men of Israel retired in battle, Benjamin began to smite and kill the men of Israel, about 30 persons, for they said, surely they are smitten down before us, as in the first battle. But when the flame began to rise up out of the city with a pillar of smoke, the Benjamins looked behind them, and behold, the flame of the city ascended up to heaven. In other words, in the sky. How many skies are there? How many atmospheres are there? We're talking about up in the air, where the clouds are. It just went straight up. This is what he's talking about. And when the men of Israel turned again unto the men of Benjamin, were amazed, for they saw that evil was upon them. For they turned their backs before the men of Israel unto the way of the wilderness, but the battle overtook them, and which came out of the cities, they destroyed them in the midst of them. In other words, this is one noted military, should I say, maneuver of the children of Israel, is to make the people think that they have overcome them and to run away from the battle, while those who lay in wait began to go and overtake the cities from which they come, because many times people, pride goeth before destruction. And this is what happened. They had a lot of pride in the fact that they have subdued them as the first time. Now, here they come after them, oh, we got them now, boys. And then find out that here your women and children, and also these things are subdued You have lost. Now, thus they enclosed the Benjamites round about and chased him. I'm in verse 43. And trode them down with ease over against Gibeah. In other words, it was an easy thing. Toward the sun rising, the east, toward the east. Gibeah toward the east. That's toward the Euphrates if you're looking at a map. And there fell the Benjamites 18,000 men. All these were men of valor. In other words, they were sticking up for evil men. They knew were evil. Doesn't it remind you of the colonizers back in the days when women would holler and they knew this woman was lying, but yet they wanted to do it because of the jealousy that they have? And even other countries. I don't know much about them, but I know about this country. But anyway, and they turned and fled toward the wilderness unto the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men. In other words, whatever they could find in the battle to get rid of the men of war. And pursued hard after them unto Gidom, and slew 2,000 of them. You have to realize a man that is in a military uniform is under oath. Any uniform, whether it's law enforcement, fire, whatever have you, any uniform, that person is under oath to perform a certain task and protect a certain people. Now, we've also known that many are, they don't do what they say, or their oath have caused them to want to do because of their bias, or because of their bias, hatred, jealousies, and pride. These things are so. And they turned and fled toward the wilderness of the rock of Rimmon, and they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men, and pursued hard after them unto Gidom, and slew 2,000 of them, so that all which fell that day of Benjamin were 25,000 men that drew sword, and all these were men of valor. But the 600 men turned and fled to the wilderness unto the rock Rimmon, and abode in the rock women 4 months. In other words, they hid out good into these rocky mountains, should I say. And the men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin, and smote them with the edge of the sword, as well as the men of every city as the beast, and all that came to hand also they shall set on fire with all the cities that they came to. In other words, God had given them absolute victory over these who would justify the wickedness of the men of Belial and those of Gilead. The Benjamites were, for some reason they were deceived that this was a worthy cause to lose your life over wickedness, over some people who walked out of, number one, their gender, and were wickedly walked out of their gender by the evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts and have led them astray, even to justify the wicked of the men of Gibeah. And let us go on to chapter 21, our last chapter. Trying to figure out, maybe we might finish it, but maybe not. It'll be a short one on tomorrow. Now the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpah, saying, there shall not any of us give his daughter to Benjamin to wife. In other words, they are our brothers. We love them, and they are part of us. They are part of this covenant which we have with the Most High. And the people came to the house of God, and abode there till even before God, and lifted up their voices and wept sore, and said, Oh, I am God of Israel. Why is this come in Israel, that there should be today one tribe lacking in Israel? And it came pass, in other words, what come over these people? They were demonic spirits. That's what it was. Yes, God had judged Israel, period. Now, that's for those of us who would try to know and understand God. Now, the people came to the house of God and abode there till evening before God, and lifted up their voices and wept sore, and said, Oh, I am God of Israel. Why is this come to Israel, that there should be one day one tribe lacking in Israel? This should not be. You said all of them. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early and built an altar and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the children of Israel said, Who is there among us of all the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation of the I Am? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up to the I am to Mizpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin their brother and said, there is one tribe cut off from Israel this day. Why? Because of the males. The males were cut off. And also the women, they were cut off. A few only remained, and there were no women for them. Now shall we do for wives? How shall we do for wives that remain, seeing we have sworn by the I am that we not give them our daughters to wives? See, this here ensures your tribe, your ancestral lineage. When a community insists that they raise their children a certain way, and they intermingle a certain way with their daughters and their sons, in order that the tribe of the nation and the nation will continue on, even in the tradition that it was handed down. Even this, the law, statute, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. Yes. Now, in verse 8, they said, what is there among the tribes of Israel that come not up to Mizpah, to the I am? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead, to the assembly, for the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. In other words, Jabesh Gilead should have came and helped Israel subdue the children of Benjamin. Now, Benjamin was a mighty people now. Don't get it backwards. And the congregation sent hither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and the children. And this thing that ye shall do, ye shall utterly destroy every male, every woman that have lain by a man. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any male. See, this was the oath that they said, we're going to cut you off if you don't go up with us against these wicked people. Now, here we go again. And they found among them 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any male. And they brought them unto the camp of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. And the whole congregation came, sent some to speak to the children of Benjamin, that there were in a rock Rimmon, to call peaceably unto them. Now, you wonder sometime, why does these, or should I say, white status people of the earth, I'm talking about Arabs too, Palestinians and all these other people, consider themselves of Hamites? This has intrigued me. Hamite meaning hot, meaning black, meaning burnt, whatever you want to call it. What has got into your minds? Is it the same demons that have got into the men of Belial that have really infiltrated and subdued this Levite priest by taking his concubine and just violently molesting her to death? What is wrong with you? I mean, common sense. Yet the narrative is pushed daily. They insist that they are of the children. Canaanites are of a lighter hue, Egyptians are of a lighter hue, and Israel is of a lighter hue. How sick can a person get? It just comes so naturally to them to present these things on TV, present it, to go into the pyramids and whitewash all the little images on the walls and blow off the nose of different things in their hate and disgust of the black man. Come on here. You are possessed in your minds. You are swayed and stamped in your mind with a hot iron by demons. And yet some of you call yourself Muslims. Some of you call yourself Christians. Some of you call yourselves Jews. and you have lost it because you have deemed yourself something that you're not, and evidently so you are not. Now, to continue, the whole congregation sent some to speak the children of Benjamin, and that were in the rock of Rimmon, to call peaceably unto them. And Benjamin came out at that time, and they gave them wives which save alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, so they sufficed them not. And the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? In other words, they had to destroy a people to give wives, because they knew they didn't have the technology that we have today. They did not have all the DNA and all that stuff, but they knew the seed of the man identified the nation of the people, or the nation or the tribe of the people, the seed of the man. Who is your father? See, now this is what all the people of the other nations have come against, and that they would put the woman, they would use DNA. This is not what God is trying to do. He's not trying to use that DNA to try and identify the children of Jacob, but who is your father? They have even cut out the God in the New Testament and used the son and used the woman. In other words, that was the start of feminism, really, other than those who had sacrificed to the Queen of Heaven. Now here you are, many of you sneered in your minds with this feminism, and you're sneered in your mind with how shall a person be deemed in their race or their peoples. You go by the mother. This is idolatry. Yes, it is. Now, let's continue. Now, it says, howbeit that we might not give them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Benjamin messed up. And they said, behold, there is a feast of the I Am in Shiloh, yearly in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebonah. Therefore they commanded the children of Israel, Benjamin, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out in the vineyards to catch you, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. Was this anything? In other words, they stole their wives. They did not rape their wives. It wasn't men stealing. They were taking the wives in the name of the Most High, and to keep the seed of Benjamin going. Now this here, if it was not so, God would have said something in this, that all 12 tribes should still thrive, but they were judged because of their sin and put to death by the Most High, by him turning them on each other. This is what happened. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they caught, and they went and returned to their inheritance, and repaired the cities, and dwelt in them. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. And in those days there was no king in Israel, and every man did that which was right in his own eyes. In other words, you got governments controlling the people through religion, through laws, through all of this, instead of being governed by that which the I Am has prescribed. Now, all the laws that they have taken, they have derived them from Israel. I'm talking about true Israel. And then they began to take from those laws and enact their own laws. Now, the fact is that many countries have so many laws that the children that are being raised in that land are not taught even in school the laws that are supposed to be enforced by their enforcers. There's a dead cat on the line somewhere here. How can you have school and you will not teach the laws of the land? And your constitution is null and void in different cities and states that you have enacted. How is that? But the schools can go on and teach everything else as far as race and this and that and historical accounts, which really account to nothing for the child as far as the child coming up to learn a skill or to learn how to do these certain things. Now, laws should be that of a curriculum even in grade school. Those laws that pertain to traffic, murder, deceit, debate, fraud, all kind of lawlessness should be taught in grade school. But the wickedness, the loopholes that they have. Now, you can have lawyers for those who forget their schooling, yes. But then even when the child comes up to be an enforcer, this enforcer understands and know he cannot make any arrest or stop anybody because they know the law too, as well as he. But when he sees somebody decides to buck up and go against the law, then he has a legitimate claim. But the wickedness continues. But now there is no king in Israel. The king they have rejected already, as we see. They have rejected God whom they cannot see. He uses angels in the spirit realm. He uses men in the realm of men to do his bidding. They were called prophets. They were Levites. He used men in the early ages. Should I say before the flood, he used men to warn them of the impending judgment that should happen because of their lawlessness. They were given laws. They were given just the same things as what we call the Ten Commandments. Yes, they knew these things. They were not oblivious to none of it. But yet, men have put themselves in the place of God. And God is so meek, as we shall see, that he shows his meekness in a beautiful way before the children of Israel. He showed his meekness in a beautiful way. Being the creator, one that should be frustrated, one that have gotten frustrated with the sins and the evilness of his own creation, not only among angels but men also, that they should allow themselves to want that which is not theirs. Covetousness, either of God's position, and this was the way of Eve. That's why your women are the way they are. Many of them are deceived because they're easily to be deceived. They want to be in power. Many of them want, not all of them, don't get me wrong here. A lot of them do, not a majority, but a certain amount of women are influence other women to the point they want to be in authority. See, she saw that this would make her equal with God in the book of Genesis. She saw it was good for food, so what can be bad with it? I mean, she started compromising things, and then her ultimate goal is to make one wise, to know good and evil as God did. So I have the equal with God. Isn't this not the way of evil either way? To prey on those things that are weak because you think you are strong, but you're weak, and those things that are weak are strong? You have to really pay attention because your eternity counts on it. And you say, well, ain't nobody told me about no heaven and hell. No, you're never going to be told about heaven and hell from the dead. Even those that said they died, this is only a dream or something they envision or whatever. But the fact is that the only thing that's going to tell you about where you're going at the time of your demise is the book of Enoch. But why have they thrown it out? They don't want you to know. Control of you. This is the evil of people. But with that, we're going into the book of Ruth. I believe that's the next book, the book of Ruth. And in the book of Ruth, we're going to see some things that many people try to justify. We're going to see things that really, we can show you archaeological places that prove even that Israel, or should I say Judah, the city of David, and what his temple was in Jebus, which is Tel-Arad, which is in the land of Canaan, which now they call Palestine, which it never was Palestine. It was Canaan, or it was Israel, then Palestine. Palestine is a colonial, just like the United States. It's a colonial name, and all the other names that you see throughout the world of these countries, they're colonial. God gives them time. He give them their space to rule the world. But now you see, now he's going to give it to a different people. And then it's going to return back to its rightful inheritors. Yes. See, many of you that listening to me might be demised by that time, but the fact is, God has his time. Because according to the book of Jubilees, a day in the I Am is as 1,000 years. In other words, this is the stem of eternity. Many people will die, come and go, sin will be wrought, war is going to be fought, conflicts done. All these things are going to happen until God is ready. Not when you're ready, not when you want to, but when God is ready. And we also say, pray for South Africa. Sometimes you get people in their ways, and they don't understand what is going on and how things are mounting up. See, the people in South Africa, according to all the social media platforms I see, the ones that, I should say the Caucasians or these Europeans, they want the best of the land. They want this Cape. It's got beautiful beaches and all these other things. They want all this. And this guy is trying to come and he's trying to say that the key word was, we cannot coexist with black people. But yet you're going to need them. Same thing in the United States. We cannot coexist with black people. In Europe, we cannot coexist with black people. All over the world, in Australia, we cannot coexist with black people. Why? You're evil. Even the evil of the demons that had plagued your mind, and then they plagued the mind of even the black South Africans to reject their brethren instead of working with them, creating business and opportunity and industry. They said, get rid of them, let them go. You got a problem. It's a demonic problem first, because they have you seeing one way when it's another. But this thing is to be. But how can you change the mind of God? Through prayer, obedience, repentance, turning from your evil ways, and seeing things for what they are, and taking action thereof. You can get them out the land if you want to. It's up to you. And you can become one of the most powerful points on the globe. But you have settled for mediocrity. You have an opportunity, but you're blowing it every day. You allow this to continue. Yeah, they have armies, but that's nothing. You can take that over in no time. They can call on who they want to call on. It'll just turn into a world war. They don't want that, because the thing is, if it have, you're not going to have mercy on them, just as they're not going to have mercy on you, and they never have had mercy on you, South Africa. Smile in your face, talk behind your back with a sword and a gun. Think! And when you do think and you turn to the Most High, you can have that which we say is peace.